Good morning. So another Yom Kippur is over. It was a lot of fun yesterday with many of our guests here, taking them to the synagogue, our synagogue here in Magdalene. It was a very special experience. So here we are today in a very serene morning, not a cloud in the sky, not one, all around 360 degrees. And yesterday there were so many clouds, it looked like there would be rain. We think of the time of Elijah the prophet when they were in a drought and there were no clouds. But then the clouds came and it was a deluge. So today we've got, as usual, some very interesting material to ponder, to let seep into our hearts and souls, into our mind, into our community life, in the small little community of the family, and the bigger community of the political society and the body politic, and also the church community, and that's particularly where it's addressed in this letter of Timothy. And then the gospel is very close to home today. It always is, really. But today in a special way, because we have Magdala is on the map. And it's not so much that Magdala is on the map, is that a disciple of Jesus is on the map. Is in the radar today. So we're going to come here to our mosaic map just to read that text of the gospel. And here's our mosaic map. I think we should see it from the other side, so we'll walk all around. Here we have the mention of the Decapolis, which is the space we were looking at over there with the sunrise. From there southward through present-day Jordan and across the Jordan River to Bet Shean, the capital of the Decapolis. You see, Decapolis is 10 cities. Decapolis, 10 cities. An administrative region of 10 cities in the time of the Hellenistic time. And then the Romans came and they continued that structure. And so here at the Boker Tov, here in the gospel account this morning, we have Jesus going from village to village. And why don't we do that? We can come in here from village to village. We have Mount Carmel, Haifa, Shimron, Sepphoris. See, in the Gospels, not all the villages are mentioned. Here we have Nazareth, very familiar, that's mentioned. And another one that's mentioned is Nain, the widow's son. And Sulam isn't mentioned, but that's actually in the story of Elisha the prophet. Also, the resurrection, very close to Naim. That light is so beautiful this morning. And then we have Endor is also mentioned in the Old Testament with the necromants who brought back Samuel for the encounter with Shaul. The Kishon, that's the Kishion. So that's like the Kishon stream almost. Oh, there's the Kishon River. Yeah, so it is the same name. And then we have Mount Tabor, which maybe wasn't a village, but there were probably people living near there. And then we're missing some other place. Oh yes, over here, Cana. You've heard of Cana. Sepphoris you may have heard of because of archaeological discoveries, but this town is very close to Nazareth, and some people think that because it was the administrative capital after Herod the Great of Galilee, then the administrative capital of Galilee, then some people think that Joseph, being a tradesman, would have found lots of work there. It would be an hour's walk, a good hour's walk to Sepphoris from Nazareth. So that'd be a doable thing. People drive today an hour and a half to work sometimes. The Armuk River, that's on the other side here, the Jordanian side. And Bet Shean should be here as well. Yeah, here it is, from the Decapolis, the capital of the Decapolis. And Gadara. Okay, so then we have Hippos across the Jordan River. Sorry, across the lake, actually, right across from us here. Hippos is right over there, where that person is walking just at the corner of Dukanaltum, taking a picture. Hippos is straight over there on the other side of the lake. Lots of archaeology there, especially of a later period, a Byzantine period. Lots of church ruins. It's a very interesting site. And then, so we have all these towns, and Jesus going from village to village, and then we have the ones we know here at the lake, Bethsaida. And there are two Bethsaidas, Bethsaida Julias, to distinguish it, Katzrin, and we have obviously the ones we really know well, Capernaum. And Ginosar, Chorazin. Okay, so we have all these ones. Safed is still a town that's functioning up on top of the hill here. Actually, you can see it from right here. We can just focus up there on the top of the hill there to the, just right over those trees. Safed, Svat. It's called today Svat. And then we have references obviously to Phoenicia over in the distance here, out there beyond the Lebanese area, Tyre and Sidon. Okay, so there's our map, and there's the gospel story today. Jesus going from village to village, healing, and obviously Magdala. We didn't mention Magdala, but I think we saw it. So there we have this experience of people walking with Jesus throughout Galilee. And we're now starting chapter 8 of Luke. So there we have special reference then in a summary fashion, in a summarizing fashion, that Jesus going from village to village. And he's going with the 12 apostles. And they're in here in Dukanaltum, represented in the icons. The door is locked here, so we won't be going in there now, but just so you can see. We can do a nice, some people liked the shot yesterday. In fact, I think YouTube chose the shot yesterday. This video that's live here on Facebook is also posted on YouTube, because not everybody is on Facebook, so you can see it on YouTube as well. And it's handy to find older ones. So here we have this beautiful scene with the light. And there we go. And then we can't see the icons, but they're in there, of the 12. And the women. And we have the women. I should have opened the door, but I'd have to go around to do that. We have Mary Magdalene, Susanna, and Johanna. This is a very special olive tree here. It's different than all the other olive trees. It's like a weeping willow. And anybody who is aware of olive trees are always astonished by this. They marvel at it. It's very unique. And these are already pretty ripe. Look at that. So the olive harvest, somebody was asking me a week or two ago when it's going to be. Exactly, I don't know when, but it's coming. And here we have the scene of the gospel today, because it says that these women supported Jesus from their substance. And this wonderful work of art is a donation to Magdala by Ferré, a very well-known sculptor in Mexico, a great artist, and he donated this to us. What a gift. And this is pretty big, So it's basically life-size, and Mary Magdalene in that sense will be very tall, the way she's presented here. And then she has a basket in her hand with pita bread, the way bread is eaten here. And you can see here half of bread, and the other half is in her hand. And she's tending it to Jesus, and he's accepting it in all his simplicity and goodness of heart, because he wants the collaboration of all of us in the big mission that he has in the history of humanity for our salvation. So this is a station to contemplate that scene of the gospel today, and so that's why I want to show it to you today, since it's up today for our reading. And the whole reality of building community in thousands of small details, thousands of small generous details, both giving and receiving, because it's also an act of kindness to receive. It's an act of appreciation, it's an act of charity, it's taking another person's offering seriously, their gift, their thoughts, their story, their generosity, taking it seriously. And that's building the family. I remember the celebration my parents did for us when we gave them a gift for their 10th wedding anniversary. So I was not yet 9, and we had clubbed together, and we bought a salt cellar and a pepper shaker to give to our parents because we needed them at the kitchen table. And we bought those and we gave them as a present for the wedding anniversary. And I will never forget how my mother and father treasured and relished those gifts. It was probably the first time that as a family, as children, we had done something like this symbolic and significant for our parents. And I'm sure they were delighted to see the children wanting to do that gift. And in a certain sense, this is a little bit in contrast to issues that the letter of Timothy addresses in the first reading. And I really recommend you to read it because it's very much part of the corrupted spirit of our times. There are many themes in there, but particularly in the interrelationships. And the idea of disputing and bitterly debating and fighting, obviously ideas are very important. Absolutely. I'm not going to say they're not. They're incredibly important. Because ideas, when they get solidly embedded in our minds, becomes the way we see the world, and that becomes the basis for our action. So ideas are very important, and it's important that we have the capacity to also go deeply and be profound with each other, and also be, in a good sense, expecting from the other the best rendering of truth about situations, about thoughts, about the world, about society. This is good for the human being. It's a very important exercise because we're made to seek truth. And we're doing that together. We're searching, we're growing as we go in life to understand the different realities. And a lot of realities are moving and changing in society. And then how do we assess all of that? So there are some instructions here for those who teach and those who lead in the formation of ideas. And let's say who promote ideas, who push ideas. We would say today to lobby and to strong arm as well. It would be a kind of a word you could use in some of the way media go about it. I was very sad yesterday over somebody using this comment to depict the attitude of a very significant leader. And the intention wasn't like that. And even if it was like that, why point out a fault and create a whole upset in many people? You know? So let's read this text here. So when people are poking fault, when people are fostering disagreement, oftentimes it's done for, I don't know, it's difficult to understand the exact motive, because you don't want to say that people are evil-minded, but they have some type of limitation, and the words here are, they're conceited, understanding nothing, with a morbid disposition for arguing and verbal disputes. So we should be able to argue, and we should be able to have a verbal dispute, but to have a morbid disposition for the negative, it becomes almost like a theater and a stage, and it develops a type of a sour bitterness. It's like, milk that's gone off. Milk is good, but when it's gone off, well, maybe you can do something else with it. Maybe you can use it for some type of special cooking, for some type of special cake, But a morbid disposition for arguments and verbal disputes. From these come envy, rivalry, insults. Because, we could have rivalry in our hearts, and that's a condition that's there. But then when that becomes insults, and insults thrive from a soil of rivalry and envy, because insults sprout up, they need a type of a motor down there that's pushing them up, Evil suspicions, and that's actually what happened yesterday. So this person, a media person, made a comment on a major media network in a very negative way. And I don't normally see these things, but I happened to stumble on it yesterday when I was doing a post. And I realized, wow, the amount of negative comments, so many people expressed a new upset over this comment, that they were led by this media person to follow that route. And what good does that do? What good does that do? The respect we need for others, building up community, that generosity that is the characteristic of giving my person to the other person in small details, like breaking a piece of bread. A famous gesture, that's gone down in history. It's part of our culture to break bread together. And Jesus made it very serious, breaking bread together. So it's interesting, I think it's good that we look at these words, as uncomfortable as they are, and it says, okay, we got to the word insults, then evil suspicions. Wow, this person really meant that evil. Well, do I need to go down that road? Mutual friction. So let us take an inspiration from there. I think I've gone way over time. I apologize. Let us build up together. Let us build up together our families, our communities, the church community, the body politic, and the town level, the village level, the neighborhood, the city, the country, the world. Let us build up the human family. I thank you very much for joining us this morning. Sorry if I went a little bit overboard there, people. God bless you. See you later, alligators. Have a blessed day. Do something nice and good today, even if there's somebody negative around. That will build up our communities. Bye-bye.